why I am saying that it is the same. Murdering someone for their difference is not good, whoever does it.
Very different to live in the United States in 2025 than it is to live in Iran.
Not if you're black.
Not for everybody.
Not if you're black.
Do not anyone at this table
Listen,
committed to Iran.
let me tell you about being in this country. This is the greatest country in the world. But, yeah, I know that. But every day, we are worried. Do we have to be worried about our kids? Are our kids going to get shot because they're running through?
Not if you're black. That's it. That's what she said. Live TV, millions watching, and Whoopi Goldberg just compared being black in America to being a woman in Iran. The same Iran where women go to prison for showing their hair. The same Iran where gay people are publicly executed by the government. Co-host went silent. The crowd shifted. And then somebody sent Bill Maher the clip.
What do you think of Whoopi Goldberg saying it's worse to be a black person in America today than a woman in Iran? You know, I say we were talking about the trans issue before, and the New York Times really has come over on that to the sort of the sensible, liberal, not crazy woke position. I think this is a great first step toward getting the Democrats back to sanity, and a second good step would be we got to do something about The View.
The audience at Real Time erupted. And what Maher said next in front of a live crowd on HBO is the reason this clip has been shared millions of times this week. Stay right here, because this gets worse before it gets better.
The bad parts of America, and without talking about all the good that America has to offer. Okay, because no country is perfect. But if you're someone that always looks at the negative when it comes to America, then you're always going to have this critique about America and make it seem like America is a really bad place to live when you have so many people trying to get over to America. Okay, and when you have this mindset and of saying blacks have it just as bad as people in America, it's just like, okay, is that like, where do you get that from? Like. And her reasons for saying that made absolutely no sense. She talks about murder. Like, okay, murder doesn't only happen in America. It happens everywhere in the world, right? That's not a good enough reasoning, right? When you talk about rights, like, you could just make the comparison of rights as, like, if you're a woman in Iran, like, my gosh, I'm sure they would love to have the freedoms that women have here in America, right? And not only that, but you, Whoopi Goldberg, being a multi-millionaire, how many women do you know in Iran that are?
Did you hear that? Did you actually hear what she just said? She just compared being black in America in 2025 to being a woman living under Iran's brutal, oppressive, theocratic regime. Not in 1920, not during Jim Crow, today, in 2025. And the crowd, they could not believe it either. But here is what Whoopi did not expect. Bill Maher was watching, and Bill Maher does not stay silent. Stay with me, because what happens next in this video will completely change how you see the mainstream media, the woke left, and the people who claim to speak for all of America. Now, before we get into the moment that broke the internet, let me give you some context. Because to understand why this matters so much, you need to understand who these two people are. Whoopi Goldberg, Oscar-winning actress, Hollywood legend, co-host of The View for over 17 years. She is one of the most recognized faces on American daytime television. Millions of people watch her every single day. They trust her. They believe what she says. And she has used that platform to push some of the most extreme, disconnected, out-of-touch opinions in recent television history. From her Holocaust controversy in 2022 to her repeated claims about race and politics, Whoopi has never been shy about saying exactly what she thinks, even when what she thinks is completely factually wrong.
I'd say if the stuff that was happening in America right now was happening anywhere else in the world, we'd invade that country. Biden, did you see him today? He announced his inauguration theme, America United. And all I could think is, boy, you have spent a lot of time in the basement. There's 20,000 armed troops on heightened alert in Washington right now, and Joe will be giving his inauguration speech in front of basically nobody. Welcome to my world, Joe. No, I just want to say, You hear some people here. We are not allowed to have an audience anymore. I'm not complaining about that. We are very appreciative of the authorities on all levels who have let us be here in our studio. We get it. There's a crisis out here in California and in the country. So these are just the normal ass-kissers. I hope they're ass-kissers who hang around the studio who are allowed here. Because if they're not, I really have no chance. But Joe outlined his plan today for the future. He wants to give every American a check for $1,400, best grandpa ever. But let's see let's review what's happened while we were off. Oh yeah, there was an insurrection at the Capitol. A bunch of Fox News freaks and QAnon nuts from deep red districts bashed and rammed and broke their way into the Capitol instead of getting there the usual way by being elected. I mean, you all saw the video, right? They stormed in and they chased retreating police up the stairs, ransacked the building. This is something I never thought I would see in America. Trump supporters taking the stairs. Even the people who wrote it aren't laughing that much. So that's where I am, people. Help me at home. But it was sad, right, to see this in America. People were hiding under their desks in the Capitol looking for hidey holes. I mean, in the Senate, someone tried to get into a closet, and Lindsey Graham said, "Get out of here, this is my spot."
And then there is Bill Maher, stand-up comedian, political commentator, host of HBO's Real Time with Bill Maher for over 20 years. Here is what makes Maher different from every other political voice on television right now. He is a liberal, a proud Democrat. He has never voted Republican. He believes in climate change. He supports abortion rights. He has been one of the loudest critics of Donald Trump for years. But, and this is the big but, Bill Maher refuses to be stupid about it. He has spent the last 5 years calling out his own side, the woke left, the performative outrage, the disconnection from reality that has cost Democrats election after election. And on this particular day, he had had enough. So let us go back to The View, June 2025. The topic on the table, America versus Iran. Co-host Alyssa Farah Griffin had just made a very simple, very obvious point.
We're going to find there are a lot of things Donald Trump does that I agree with, but then there are things I think are dangerous, reckless, and want to call out. So you have to be able to talk to people who, it doesn't have to be all this or all that, but find movement on the things that matter.
It's hard to talk to people who support people who think you don't matter in the country.
But it's not supporting the person, though.
But when you support that person,
right, but
it brings... Go ahead.
But I don't support that person. My point being that I don't disagree with everything Trump is doing, so we have to be able to have conversations. But
Griffin said, and I am paraphrasing, that living in the United States in 2025 is nothing like living in Iran in 2025. She talked about the facts. Women in Iran cannot leave their house without covering their hair. If they do, they can be arrested. If they are caught without a hijab in public, they face up to 15 years in prison. According to the United Nations, women in Iran cannot own property. They cannot get an education freely. Gay people are executed by the government. This is not opinion. This is documented fact. Griffin said it clearly. Do not go to Tehran. Nobody at this table can go to Tehran. And that is when Whoopi said it, not if you're black. That was her response. She looked directly at Griffin and said, being black in America in 2025 is the same as being a woman in Iran. The same country where women are imprisoned for showing their hair. The same country where gay men are publicly hanged. The same country where you cannot vote, cannot own property, cannot speak freely. That, according to Whoopi Goldberg, is the same as being black in America. The crowd went quiet. Even her own co-hosts looked uncomfortable. Sarah Haynes tried to bring her back. She said, they are not doing well in Iran. They are not educated. They can't own property. They can't go out of their houses. But Whoopi doubled down. She said, and I quote, it is the same. And that was the moment. That was the lie. That was the statement that would light the fuse and bring Bill Maher straight to his television screen, furious. Friday night, HBO, Real Time with Bill Maher. The audience is live, the cameras are rolling, and Bill Maher is not in a good mood. He opened the segment by actually giving Democrats a compliment. He said, the New York Times had recently taken a more sensible, reasonable position on transgender issues. And he called that, quote, a great first step toward getting Democrats back to sanity. The crowd laughed, they applauded, and then Maher paused. And he said, and a second good step would be, we have got to do something about The View. The crowd erupted, laughter, applause, people on their feet, because everyone, even loyal Democrats in that room, knew exactly what he was talking about.
Should be able to have a civil debate. Nobody, including Riley Gaines, who I disagree with strongly, should feel
What do you disagree with, out of interest?
I think that it should be up to sporting bodies to make the decisions about who and how should compete.
What has she said that's actually wrong?
I think that what she has done is try to turn this. We talked about people, using things to kind of get likes and get clicks.
That's not what she's doing.
It's not?
I've got no truck for Riley Gaines personally, but all I've seen her do is stand up for women's rights to fairness and equality.
Well,
she actually competed against Leah Thomas, and it was obviously unfair. Leah Thomas won one of the races in the NCAA championships by 50 seconds against a bunch of biological females who simply couldn't keep up. That cannot be right. It cannot be fair.
That is something that I think our sporting bodies should be dealing with. And by the way, Riley is speaking up for herself, and that is her prerogative, and I respect her free speech.
I think she's speaking up for pretty much every female athlete in the world.
I mean, wasn't that the point of Title IX? Title IX in the early 70s was something that was it was a major event in feminism, that we finally have this law that says at colleges, right, and I think high schools too, but definitely colleges, women's sports have to be given equal to men's sports, so that women aren't and this led to the WNBA and lots of other stuff. This seems to be the opposite of that. It seems to be so many instances, I think, where wokeness is the opposite of what I grew up as liberalism. Liberalism was, let's give the women an equal shot.
And meanwhile,
this is let's put a male in the swimming pool with the women. I don't get it.
It's crazy. And meanwhile, trans people who genuinely want to compete at athletics and swimming or whatever it may be, they're the ones who are suffering here. They need to be found a way to compete fairly and justly.
But Maher was not done, not even close. He brought in his guest Congressman Wesley Hunt, Republican from Texas. And what Wesley Hunt said next completely dismantled Whoopi's argument in under 60 seconds.
What do you think of Whoopi Goldberg saying it's worse to be a black person in America today than a woman in Iran?
My district in the great state of Texas is actually a white majority district that President Trump would have won by 25 points. As I said, I'm a direct descendant of a slave. My great-great-grandfather was born on a Rosedown plantation. I am literally being judged not by the color of my skin, but by the content of my character. That's the progress, because, like, a lot of white people had to vote for me. A lot.
So wait,
I don't even ever want to hear Whoopi Goldberg's conversation about how it's worse to be black in America right now. That's a bit far. And my father, who's 75 years old, he was a man that was in the French quarters that had to go get a sandwich to the back door of the building. And his son is now a United States congressman in a white majority district in Texas as a Republican. That is America. That's America.
Hunt looked at Maher and said, I don't ever want to hear Whoopi Goldberg's conversation about how it's worse to be black in America right now. And then he explained why. He said, my district in the great state of Texas is a white majority district that President Trump would have won by 25 points. I am a direct descendant of a slave. My great-great-grandfather was born on Rosedown Plantation. I am literally being judged not by the color of my skin, but by the content of my character. He paused, and then he said, a lot of white people had to vote for me. A lot. The crowd went absolutely silent and then erupted into applause, because here was a black man, a descendant of actual slaves, telling Whoopi Goldberg that her comparison was not just wrong. It was insulting to every black American who has worked, struggled, and succeeded in this country. Now let us talk about the actual facts, because this is important. Is America perfect? Absolutely not. Are there racial inequalities that still need to be addressed? Yes. No honest person would deny that. But is being black in America in 2025 the same as being a woman in Iran? Let us look at the numbers. In Iran today, women who protest the hijab law are arrested. Some have been sentenced to years in prison. Some have been tortured. Some have disappeared entirely. Gay people in Iran face execution. The government has put gay men to death publicly. This is not exaggeration. This is documented by the United Nations, Amnesty International, and Human Rights Watch. Women in Iran cannot get a passport without their husband's permission. They cannot attend certain sports events. They cannot sing in public. They cannot dance. Now look at Black America. Black Americans serve in Congress. They run Fortune 500 companies. They lead universities. They win Oscars, including Whoopi Goldberg herself. Black Americans can vote. They can own property. They can speak freely. They can protest. They can sue the government. They can run for president, and one actually won. Are there still problems? Yes. Is the system still imperfect? Yes. But to say these two realities are the same is not just wrong. It is an insult to the millions of women actually suffering in Iran right now. Women who cannot even dream of the freedoms that all Americans, black, white, brown, take for granted every single day. And that is what Bill Maher was saying. Not that black Americans have it easy, but that this comparison, this specific, dramatic, performative comparison does nobody any good. It does not help black Americans. It does not help Iranian women. It just makes good television for The View. Within hours of Bill Maher's response, social media exploded.
She says stupid shit on a regular basis. It just happened to coincide. But can I just say this?
Have platforms that have stuff on them that not everyone on that platform or who consumes stuff on that platform enjoys. And The View is a particularly weird place to do a cancellation.
It's called The View?
It's called The View. It's not called The Facts.
Yeah, but isn't it interesting that it's called, I mean, I don't think they meant this when Barbara Walters invented it a long time ago, but it's The View.
Well,
that's the problem in America. There is one view,
right, and
one
that's clearly
true opinion, and everybody else can go sit in the corner.
On X, formerly Twitter, the clips went viral within minutes. Conservatives shared it, liberals shared it, moderates shared it. Even people who normally cannot stand Bill Maher were sharing it and saying he is right. Comments flooded in from black Americans, many of them Democrats, saying they were tired of being used as political props, tired of being told their lives are comparable to authoritarian regimes, tired of performative outrage that helps nobody. One viral comment said, "As a black woman, I am absolutely not a woman in Iran, and it is offensive to Iranian women to say I am." Another said, "Whoopi has been on TV so long, she has forgotten what reality actually looks like." Even some longtime View fans said enough is enough, and behind-the-scenes sources say the network was not happy, because every time Whoopi makes a statement like this, The View does not gain viewers, it loses them. The show that once dominated daytime television is now facing its toughest questions yet about whether its hosts are still connected to the real world that their audience actually lives in. Here is the thing about Bill Maher that most people miss. He is not trying to make conservatives happy. He is not trying to switch sides. He is not becoming a Republican. Maher has said it over and over again, the reason Democrats keep losing elections is not because America is too conservative. It is because the loudest voices on the left, the voices on shows like The View, have completely lost touch with ordinary Americans. Regular people, black, white, Hispanic, Asian, they do not think being black in America is the same as being a woman in Iran. They know that is absurd. And when Democratic politicians and celebrities keep saying things like that, regular voters walk away. Not to the Republicans necessarily, just away. They tune out. They stop voting. They stop believing the Democratic Party represents them. And that is what Bill Maher is trying to stop. On his Club Random podcast, Maher went even further. He said, and I love this, he did not call them woke. He called them the stupid woke. Because there is a difference between being socially conscious and being performatively, disconnectedly, embarrassingly dramatic about it. One helps people, the other just makes good TV clips. So here is where we land. Whoopi Goldberg, one of the most famous women in American entertainment, looked into a camera on national television and told millions of viewers that Black Americans in 2025 live under the same conditions as women in Iran. Women who are imprisoned for showing their hair. Women who are executed for who they love. Women who have no freedoms that we in this country consider basic human rights. And Bill Maher, a liberal, a Democrat, a man who has fought for progressive causes his entire career, stood up and said, no, that is wrong, that is stupid, and someone needs to say it. Not because they hate Whoopi, not because they hate The View, but because they are tired of being told that reality is not real, tired of being told that America, for all its flaws, is the same as one of the most oppressive regimes on the planet. America has problems, serious ones, but the answer is not to exaggerate them beyond recognition. The answer is to face them honestly, with facts, with nuance, with courage. That is what Bill Maher does every single week. And that is why even when people disagree with him, they keep watching. If this video opened your eyes, hit that like button right now. Every single like tells YouTube to push this to more people who need to hear this. And subscribe because we cover the moments that mainstream media does not want you to see clearly. The next video is going to shock you even more. We will see you there.